All right. Okay, we're going to talk about the Shriners tonight. I just want to greet everybody. I know it's been a minute, but we're going to get it in. A new glass here tonight. New glass here tonight. So tonight, we're going to talk about the ancient Arabic order nobles of the Mishra Shrine and the ancient Egypt Arabic nobles of the Mishra Shrine, or the ancient Arabic order nobles of the Mishra Shrine. And the question is, did John G. Jones establish the Prince Hall Shriners as we know it? Greetings, everybody that's coming along. Greetings, greetings. That question was asked to me the other day. A brother, a noble who was interested, wanted to know, did John G. Jones establish the ancient Egypt orders of the nobles of the Mishra Shrine? I told him no, he did not. And he was like, no, that's not what they're saying in the Prince Hall Shrine book. Clearly, they said that he was the one to establish that. But clearly, for those of you who know the history, know that that did not take place. So tonight we're going to talk on a couple of topics. And one is being, did John G. Jones create or establish the ancient Egypt orders, nobles of the Mishra Shrine? That's number one. That's one topic we want to talk about. The second topic we're going to talk about is, why are you a Mason? Why are you a Mason? For those who are part of the order itself. And to the sisters, why are you a member of the Order of the Eastern Star? But tonight's number one topic is going to be that of, did John G. Jones establish the Prince Hall Shriners? It's not even complicated. And for those of you who don't know, he did not establish their shrine. I have no idea as far as who established their shriners, as far as where did they get their charter from. You know what? I don't know. I don't know if they were self-made. I have some ideas from what I've read, and I encourage everybody at all times, go do your own research and see what conclusion you come up to, because it may not be the one that I've come across. But from what I do know, he did not. He did not establish the Prince Hall Shriners as we know it today. He did not. So, just want to welcome everybody aboard. Definitely come on in. Send me a shout out tonight. I appreciate it. And please hit the like button. We're going to get right into this topic and look at the history of Shrinedom as we know it today. We know that Shrinedom came along in 1893 through the Honorable John G. Jones, 33rd. He was tasked with establishing the Shrinedom, and we know that during the earlier days of Shrinedom, that it was through him that Shrinedom was brought to, I would say, America, Black America, as we would say. And it was through him that the Shriners was established. So if anybody got any qualms with that, they got to go take that up with documented history about the establishment of Shrinedom and who established Shrinedoms among the African Americans. And I would say no other than John G. Jones. And as soon as I can find this information, I'm going to read something to you that I find that was, it's good. It's good. This is something that I came across, and maybe for those of you who are who like to go look up information, maybe you may come across something a little different. But this is what I got. Okay, this is what I have here. As soon as I can go into it, I may have to. Okay. So let's go into this. So it says the history of the ancient Arabic order nobles of the Mishra Shrine. It goes on to say the illustrious John G. Jones of Chicago, Illinois, Sovereign Grand Commander of the United Supreme Council, ancient accepted Scottish Rite 33rd, received application. His application was received June 1st, 1893 in Chicago. Okay, by Noble Raphael Parish, P-A-S-B-A, Deputy of the Grand Council of Arabic. Honorable John G. Jones was conferred with the degree which give him the patent and power and authority to confer the degrees of the Mystery Shrine on to defer the degree of the nobles of the Mystery Shrine, to organize imperial council, which led him to become the first grand imperial potentate of the ancient Arabic order nobles of Mystery Shrine in the United States. Plain and simple. It's not even complicated. So when you look at this and you say, okay, if Jones established it, and then we find that after 1903 he was expelled from Prince Hall, and Prince Hall had their own Shriner in 1900 when they organized it, called the Ancient Egypt Order Nobles Mystery Shrine. How can that be when Jones is clearly the imperial potentate? It's just a question. I mean, this is history, and I know people like to dabble and dibble in history, but that's the fact, you know. And we must understand, you know, everybody got their own version of what happened. Everybody has their own version. Organization writes down their own history about what took place. This is sometimes that can make things so confusing, but this shouldn't be that complicated, because we all know that Jones was the it factor when it came to Shriner. He was by far the it factor. So there's clearly no confusion. But if you want to call in tonight, as always, that line is now open. That is going to be 619-286-0642. 619-0642. Oh, my brother got the fez on. He's yeah, bro, I got it on tonight, and I just feel, you know, it made me want to do a little camel walk. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, we got to understand history, and I say history only because, you know, everybody has their own version of it. They do. All Grand Lodges write down their own encounter about what took place, how it took place. You know, I don't care what jurisdiction you're in. The best thing you can do is understand the history of your jurisdiction. Don't worry about nobody else. You know, if somebody can consider you clandestine, bogus, what it is not. Stay out the bushes. Keep your light on. Understand your history, your story, and don't let nobody else change that. I don't care what jurisdiction you're in. Never let anybody come in and try to change your history, your story, because as soon as they write it, it's their history, their story. Plain and simple. You can say whatever you want to say, whether you like me or not, but it's a fact. You must understand, we as a people must write our own history, write our own stories, because if we don't, it becomes somebody else's story, somebody else's history, and they tell it from their point of view. Okay? Plain and simple. And this is what happens a lot of time. You know, so we must realize we have to move forward in this thing too. Somebody said that John and I was bickering like we was the basketball wives, that I was cracking up, because it's true. Here you have two gentlemen, you know, and I believe that in some cases John is right about some things. And some things I'm not going to agree with John on. However, it is not for me to come up with John's conclusion on what John come up with based on his research. It is my conclusion to come up with my own conclusion based on what I have. However, when two individuals share information, they must consider one part versus the other part and then come up with another conclusion. Because when you're doing research, you're going to always change your mind based on the information that you find that is relevant to what you're seeking and looking for. So if I'm looking for something and I find something that changed my mind about something, I'm going to do that based on what I found. Plain and simple. So we can sit back and we can debate all we want to. It is up to the individual to pick up a book, to read it for themselves, to find out what they're looking for themselves. And this is what happens a lot of time. We allow somebody else to dictate to us what we should read, what we shouldn't read, what it means. No. You go do your own research, read it for yourself, come up with your own conclusion. It may not be my conclusion, but that doesn't mean I have to fall out with you because you read something different or read the same thing I read and come up with a different conclusion. No, I'm not going to fall out with you. It is never that serious. This is the uniqueness of Freemasonry as a whole. So when you find yourself in that going back and forth. When you find yourself like that, that's not a good place to be. It's really not. Because most of the time you've already made up your mind. You're not willing to accept new information. Anyone who does research and they can't accept new information, regardless of where it comes from, they need to analyze that, break it down, and see what they can get out of it. Look, when people are digging through the trash and they are hungry, they don't eat everything. They look and see if that shit is suitable for them to eat. That's just a fact. If you've ever been there in life, and trust me, there are some of us who have been there in life, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. So we must press forward. Everything is not for everybody. Being a Mason, an Eastern Star, is not for everybody. Being a Shriner is not for everybody, especially when you indulge yourself in what Shrinum really is. Everybody think that Shrinum is the playhouse. Shrinum is not a playhouse. I don't know. I have an idea maybe where that information came from, but when you look at the true essence of Shrinum, it is not a playhouse. Shrinum is very serious. We may have our fun and camel walking. That's great, but the essence of Shrinum is beyond that. When you really indulge yourself in it, you find yourself. When you talk about walking across the hot burning sands, and all this, have you traveled the Arabian path? Those questions, is what you should be looking for. Do you have a token? What about that black rock? What's so significant about the black rock and Shrinum? Why do we have it? Those questions like, do you pray 5 times a day, 2 times a day? Facing the east? What do you consider that obligation that you took as a Shriner? Have you gone back and read over and see exactly what you said? And why did you say those things? It's something definitely to consider, when you are a Shriner, did you tie that camel up to a date tree? Huh? And that's the unique thing about a Shriner. I don't care what you say in regards to a female being a Mason, but she can't be a Shriner. Oh no, she can be a daughter. She can be whatever you want, but she can never, ever be a Shriner. If you have been initiated into the ancient Arabic order, nobles of Mr. Shrine, I'm talking about the right way. I ain't talking about putting on no dress and all that stuff. That's not really what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the true essence of initiation in Shrinum. And when I say that, you're going to have to give me a call tonight if you're a noble, and we'll have that conversation. I won't discuss that on here tonight. But the phone number to call in tonight is 619-286-0642. You can call in tonight if you choose to, and we can talk about a couple of things. One is going to be the Shriners. The next one is going to be, why are you a Mason or a part of the Order of the Eastern Star? And I feel that sometimes we missed what the organization is really all about, because we involved with so much and so many other things that we really shouldn't have our hands into. So we miss out on the essence of it. Let me see. If you know anything about Black ancient free and accepted lodges, they have a long history of writing very little down, while their counterparts choose to be more open and transparent. Absolutely. Nichols, yeah, I agree with that. And I'm part, my Grand Lodge. I made sure that when I became a member of this Grand Lodge, and as I began to move up as an officer, I became an officer. I made sure I went and collected every bit of lectures. I got history. I went and got that down. And so every year is written down. When we do our souvenir journals, that history is put in the souvenir journal. Okay? It's updated all the time, so nobody can come back and say, hey, this, and this. No, the members know. And that's what's important. Your membership should know your history. I don't care what jurisdiction you're in. Your members should know your history, your story, and don't allow anyone to tell you about yourself. When you know. That's not how we get down. When you know. And Brother Nicholas is absolutely right. Opinion is like booty holes. Everyone doesn't reach the same conclusion when reading the same story. Absolutely. Even if you don't reach the same conclusion, at least you read it for yourself. That's all I ever try to say. Go read it for yourself. Don't allow someone else to dictate to you about something else. That's just like when I read the Bible. I don't allow nobody to come and dictate to me. I can go read it for myself. I can look certain words up if I don't know them to get a better understanding. I do that for me. That's what everybody should do for themselves. Then they won't be having an issue. We all can do it for ourselves. Joy is the few that will not. All right. Just curious, what's up with the tassel that? Oh, you don't know about the tassel. See, sometimes now there's a couple of stories behind the tassels. So one story that I know of and I've read is that the pyramid is not completed. The fez is supposed to be that of the top of the pyramid, which is not complete. It's incomplete, and the fez is used, and the tassel is used to raise that stone, that capstone up. Also, says it is the length of it's the length of shucks. I can't think of the name of it right now. I can't think of the name of it right now, bro. But there's I've heard a couple of reasons for the tassel, and some don't tie it down. They say they let it move around because of the 360 degrees. I've heard so many different things about it till I stopped even trying to figure it out. To be honest with you, I really have. But I think the best thing I've ever come across is the mere fact of reading, and it says that it is to pull up the capstone to complete the temple. See, this temple isn't complete. Okay, it's not complete. And when it's complete, then you can put a capstone on it. That's the best solution that I've come across. Now, you may come across something different. Do you believe the Quran is the highest esoteric text than the Bible? I don't. I believe the Quran and the Bible are just about equal. The only thing, in my own opinion, and I tell you what, go get yourself a Quran, is that the Quran, as far as I know of, and as far as what's been passed down, it doesn't change. It really stays close to the original text. The Quran is very hard to rewrite in English because some words you can't translate from Arabic to English. You just can't do it. So even when you have a Quran that has an English side and then it's written in Arabic over here, some words is just very difficult in Arabic to translate into English. In some cultures, it just is. So to put one above the other, I won't do it. I don't do it. I have a Quran and I have a Bible, and I won't put one above the other. That's me. The dictionary of all scriptures, myths books will unlock them both. In addition to understanding the Hermetic philosophies. Oh yeah, Brother Lewis, boy, Brent, yeah, Brother Lewis, you on something. You ever since we had that conversation, bro, you've been dropping some serious jewels. I'll tell you that. That you have been dropping. So look, that's enough about the Shriners. If you got anything else, you can definitely give me a call at 619-286-0642 tonight. We're going to have that conversation if you want to have it about the Shriners. I just, you know what, man, ain't nothing like this here, though. It is what it is. Ain't nothing like it. I enjoy this. Caliph Shrine Temples, Ancient Arabic Order Nobles of Mr. Shrine. Yep, I enjoy this. So I'm going to part this tonight. Set it over here. Yeah, that'll work. Anyway, so let's get into it. So my thing is this. Why are you a Mason? Why are you a Mason? Somebody need to help me out. This is our second topic for tonight. I just need to hear somebody, because you know what? I'm going to speak for myself. I'm a Mason because of the relationship that I had with certain individuals that introduced me to the craft when I was in Mississippi. And their life spoke for themselves. It did. And I wanted to be a part of the organization. But when I left and moved to California, boom, there it is. I ran into another group of brothers. Their life, the things they did, spoke for themselves. And I found that there was Masons, and I wanted to be a part of that lodge. And I've been a part of that lodge since 1986. Never been a part of any other lodge. I've really enjoyed it. I've had a ball. So that's why I'm a Mason. It's because of the brotherly love, relief, and the truth. It's because of the tenets of the profession of Freemasonry. I'm a Mason because of that. You know, it is not about the titles. It is not about anything else than what we do in my lodge, in this jurisdiction, is why I'm a Mason. We just Florence, the 33rd from New York, was an Arabic, was initiated into the temple and the mission shrine, brought it by the United States of 8. Yeah, I read that one too, Brother Darnell. But I was talking about Jones, 1893. What part of the conversation was above my pay grade? Nice. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. You were Mason because you were seeking truth. Did you, Brother Alex, did you find the truth you were seeking? You know, you say you was a Mason because you were seeking truth. The court, did you find the truth you were seeking? A wise man once told me that the flaming red swords that the angels guarded the Garden of Eden with was the fez. Could you speak on that, my brother? I'm not familiar with that. The flaming red swords, I didn't hear that of being the fez at all. I looked at the flaming, when I read that part, I consider that as being tilers of the lodge, or being, or guarding the Garden of Eden so no one can come in, you know, because the tree of life was there and it was forbidden for them to re-enter the Garden of Eden. So they had, in my opinion, from my reading, had tilers placed there. The sword represents the tiler of the lodge. He protects those who are inside, and he guards those who are trying to go and go in and come out. That's his job. And if you read the burial of the Masonic, of the brother who's, you know, if you read the burial degree, there's a burial degree, you will find his job, you know, and that his job is to keep out all cowards and eavesdroppers, to see that none repass or pass unless they have a mission of the wishful master. That's the Masonic part. But the esoteric part clearly says that the Tyler's job is to protect the lodge. He's outside with a sword or sword. That's his job. I'm a Mason because of the love I have for the fellowship of my brothers. Great. I became a Mason from which my father, grandfather, my military career. I'm always seeking truth. It is a continuous process. That is so true. That is so true, because what I've found is that when I think I have found what I was looking for, something else comes up, changes my mind, and I have to go in a different direction just because of the information that is at hand. So, you know, and that's the uniqueness of being a Mason. And I agree with Brother Fitzgerald, you know, that this is what we do, you know. Brother Terrell, I'm a Mason because of growing up in Gulfport, Mississippi. I saw a lot of elders who were Masons. They were doing great things. All right, well, I think that's a lot of us. A lot of us seen men in our community who were doing great things. And, you know, I tell you another story. I don't know how many of you know about Trent Lott. Trent Lott is a 33rd degree Mason out of Mississippi. He was the Speaker of the House at one time. And there was a brother that was in some trouble in Mississippi. And Trent Lott got up and said this. And he did this like in the, it had to be like in the early 80s, late 80s, something like. Trent Lott said that before he sees his brother go down, he will go down. And that is really the catalyst that pushed me to look into this thing called Freemasonry. And I won't deny it. I've enjoyed it. I've had fun. I've had people to tell me that I wasn't a Mason, but that's neither here nor there. But it's funny when they tell me that. But when I continue this journey as a Mason, I find brothers from all across the world that I've been able to enjoy their fellowship with. So people can talk a good game. But I'll tell you this, any Mason, leave the United States. I've said it before several times. Leave the United States and go travel as a Mason. And you would see truly the difference in what it is here versus what it is in any other country. You will see the difference. It is what it. I've totally had a ball with being a Mason and traveling, and I won't change it for the world. And I tell any brother that wherever you go, that's what you need to do. You need to venture out and check it out for yourself, So, people talk a good game. They talk about what it is to be a Mason, but they never leave their jurisdiction. They talk about what it is to travel, but they never leave the United States. And I tell you this, the way you do things here is not necessarily what's happening outside of the United States. And the degree work is definitely different too. People can talk and say, this and that, but it is just different. Greetings, Brother Cook. How you doing? Jonathan G., welcome aboard. The Shriners is not the playhouse. The Royal Order are just what it is. Oh, I don't know nothing about that one. I'm not going to touch nothing I don't know nothing about. Okay. Brother Jonathan G., if you want to call in tonight and touch on that subject, you can. The topic for the night the first topic of the night was this. Did John G. Jones organize the Prince Hall Shrindom? That was number one topic for the night. We had a brief discussion on that. The second topic is for the sisters of the Order of the Eastern Star and the brothers of the craft. Why are you a Mason and why are you an Eastern Star? My past Grand Master, Michael P. McCullough, used to ask the question every year at session. That is the question he would ask. Why are you a Eastern Star or a Mason? He would ask all of the Wishful Masters that question. He would also turn around and ask them worthy matrons the same question. He did it year after year. And it was amazing to hear the answers to his question that he would ask. And at first I was like, why is he asking this question? But, as time go on, you find out why people ask certain questions. Because if you tell me this is the reason you're here, but you don't participate in the craft or the Order of the Eastern Star, then why are you here? Why are you here anyway? Holding up progress, putting bad vibes out. Your energy is negative. Why are you here anyway? If you're not willing to work with the next brother, next sister on a project to see it all the way through, then why are you here? And before I go any further, I'm going to send condolences to my Grand Master. He lost his mother this past week. We were just fellowshipping today. Myself, my past junior warden of my lodge, and we were just fellowshipping, having a good time. And I just want to say to my Grand Master, my heart goes out to you, and I'm there for you. You call me, I'm there. I had a good chance to hang out with him and his family yesterday. So condolences to my Grand Master, Calvin Sanders, 33rd, who lost his mother during this past week. So just want to let him know we're there. So back to that's the topic for the night. Is did Prince Hall, or did John G. Jones establish the Prince Hall Shrine? And other two topics for the night is why are you an Eastern Star and why are you a Mason? I think we need to really look at that sometime, because we tend to forget what the organization is all about. And I don't know if we do it on purpose, or are we just blinded by the mere fact of what somebody has told us, and now we've been hook-winked and bamboozled, and we're caught up in every other thing besides what the craft teaches and what it's really all about. So why are you a part of this thing we call Freemasons in the Order of the Eastern Star? Is it something you really want to be a part of, or is it because your homeboy is a part of it? You know, and we have to really consider that. We really do. But I don't think sometimes that we even consider. I think sometimes what happens is that we get caught up. And this is another thing. I was reading in the Order of the Eastern Star book, is that I think I shared this once before, is that in order to be a Mason, in order to be an Eastern Star, it has to be in the bloodline. It has to be in your family. So when I see that, I'm quite sure over the years, some Grand Lodges have changed that, you know. And if I'm not mistaken, I got to go look and see if that was one of the landmarks at one time, that in order to be an Eastern Star, you had to be a mother, a wife, a daughter, a sister, married to a Mason. And in order to be a Mason, you had to be lawfully, what's the word I'm looking for? Of course, you have to be initiated, passed, and raised, but there's another word I'm looking for, and it'll come to me later. I can't think of it right offhand. Right? My dad is a Mason, and he told me I'm ready now. What's up, Buck? How you doing? Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. In your opinion, why do you think people join the craft today? Oh, Brother Terrell, people across the board. Well, it is nothing like it used to be. But for now, the reason people cross, or maybe the reason people become Masons and Eastern Stars, is because of their friends. Their friends. You know, I can only venture back, and I've heard it before. I'm an old head now. And I remember coming in and seeing those older gentlemen and the older sisters and how they carried themselves. We don't do any of those things now. We'll become very lax in Freemasonry. I don't know why, but we have. A lot of things have changed. You know, now we have the internet. Now we have Facebook. We have Instagram. We did have MySpace. We have so many other things now. See, there once was a time when you only could mail a brother a letter, a summons or whatever. Now you could text it to him. You know, so a lot have changed, and with that change, Freemasonry has changed also. Now, has it changed for the better? In some cases, yes, and some no. And that is true. I don't, you know, it's very hard at times to say that Freemasonry has really changed for the betterment because of what we see in Freemasonry right now. It's hard. I would hope that one day we will be able to really grab the true essence of Freemasonry. Now, it's done amongst individuals, but I'm talking about on a broader scale, you know. And maybe I'm that wishful, hopeful type of person, but I really believe that if we truly practice that which we say we're a part of, Freemasonry would be one of the best organizations amongst men and females there is, bar none. It would be, and it can be. But we have to set aside some of our passions and look at the craft for what it is and begin to really capitalize on the very thing we say we enjoy and want to be a part of. Until we do that, we're going to be where we at. We're going to be at odds. We're not going to be able to really grab the fellowship of Freemasonry. We're not going to be able to do that. And that's where we're going to find ourselves at. Most join because they have a motive as a member. I will agree with that, Brother Christopher Jackson. The sole purpose of joining is because the principles of the order are who you are. Well, you could say that, Chris, but I'm going to disagree with you on that one. And you know the number, so you have open blunt. You can call in anytime you want to, but I'm going to disagree with you on that one, Brother Jackson, only because when I see brothers of the craft and sisters of the order and how sometimes they can be messy, I just shake my head. You know, some of you can pull to the side and really have and whisper that good counsel in your ear. And some of you don't want to do it because you know if you do it, you may have to lay hands on somebody. You may have to lay the healing hands on somebody, because what happens is when you try to relate and really explain to a sister or brother that this is not how we supposed to carry ourselves, they want to get a little loud. They do. So Brother Jackson, bruh, woo, nothing changes. We invoke to make it easier. Yeah. Yeah. Greetings everybody that's coming on tonight. I'm a Mason because I grew up around and inspired black Greeks. I wanted to be that until I learned the founders were Mason. I like going back to the roots. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Everyone grass is green. The weeds only overtake it when it's not taken care of. Oh, that just makes so much common sense right there, Brother Jackson. You're right. Everybody grass is green, and when it's overtaken by weeds, it's a done deal. It's just what it is. It's truly a done deal. And we have to see it for what it is. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Who I got tonight?
Welcome, Mr. Brother Jackson.
Brother Jackson, welcome.
Greetings, everyone. Let me repeat the words that I said.
Okay.
When the brother asked, why do I think brothers join the order? First off, the order has been the same, and it's always been the same. There are a whole lot of different churches, a whole lot of different denominations, as they call them.
Mm-hmm.
All of these AME, CME, whatever. Still, one Jesus. It's a whole lot of affiliations. It's a whole lot of different jurisdictions, as they're called. But it's still one Amun Res. I care less about associating with 10, 15, or 25 landmarks. A lot of people, the principles of the order. See, if we are supposed to take, if we are to take good men and make them better men, then the principles of the order are already there.
Mm-hmm.
If the principles of the order are in you, and you're not doing them, then what does that say about you?
Right.
It's a whole lot of people that get in here because they couldn't become Qs.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't become alphas. They couldn't become iotas. Whatever it is, whatever their motive is. I keep saying, and I'll always say, most brothers in the order, they start practicing wait with patience and subduing passions once they've gotten degrees. You should have been doing that before these brothers even got petitions.
Right.
You should have been able to see what was going on. Why are you bringing in brothers that you can't trust, that you'll go into business with, and that you respect?
Right.
You knew he was raggedy when you brought him in there, but your numbers were short. So you needed some more membership. So now you wonder why people have turned on you. See, it's painful when you got people that have been around you, that you labored and loved and fellowshiped all these years, and then they turn on you about a seat. See, when I sit back and I see...
You know as well as I know, Brother Jackson, you've been around a little while. You know brothers will turn on you in regards to a seat. And that's the sad thing about it. I mean, be it any degree that you may want to talk about, we know that there are individuals who will go bring up individuals who hadn't been to a lodge meeting all year long. Bring them up, look like from the dead, and you be like, man, where you been? Well, I'm here tonight. This is election time. Come on now.
Well, one of the problems with that is that when you allow a past master to have life membership, he can just show up to whatever. But what do the rules state? See, that's what I mean when I speak about innovations. What do the rules state?
Mm-hmm.
I read all of the comments before I even said greetings. Because when you ask what did you come here to do, it says learn to do my passions and improve myself and Masonry. Well, what is Masonry? It is a beautiful system of morality, veiled in allegory and illustrated by its symbols. You got a lot of people that wear jewels on their neck, but they don't represent the jewel that they got on in their walk and their conduct.
Right.
So when you crack your mouth open, it goes contrary to what you're wearing and what you represent. So we can have all these funny and catchy names, and he's really, he's this, that, and the other, because that's a narrative. People like to have a perception placed upon them. I don't care about the glory of the seat. I don't care about my name being on the door. All I need is access in it. See, I have a lot of favor and I got a lot of glory because I have a gift. And a lot of people don't like that. And that's cool. It's just like you having a brand new car, bro. When you got a brand new car, everybody likes it. They love to see you in it. But now it's 7 years in and the car still look the same. Now they got a problem with it. They hate you because you got it, because they don't take care of theirs. That's why so many people piss away their Masonic careers. I call them having Masonic homelessness. That's what they have. A lot of people have that. They're in the order, but they're not playing in the game. You're on the team, but you don't play in the game because you don't practice. It was enough for you when you got initiated. Well, it ain't but such amount of degree. Whatever people want to say, I care less. That's why I talk the way that I do, because I'm not going to sit here and milk toast this down. It's a whole lot that I've always told you. Your intentions are well founded, but we will never have unity because God didn't intend it to be that way. And I'll say that to the end of time. It wasn't intended that way in the beginning. It says, know one another in all scriptures. Know one another. It didn't say one was higher or lesser. It says know one another. All of the animals and everything out in the wilderness, they know one another. They have respect for one another. We don't even have that, because the free slave always wants to feel like he's better than the next. That's why they always talking about this. Well, we were here first, or we did this, and well, so and so recognized us, and we this, that, and other. These crackers don't give a fuck about you. We sitting up in here sending money over there to Paris about a damn Notre Dame cathedral.
Wait a minute, time out. Are you serious? I didn't see that. We sending money over there now?
You got brothers and sisters donating money to help the cathedral get built. You see all of these billionaires. You see all these brothers out there talking about sending money to donate to help get the cathedral rebuilt. When did we get any money about sending? If you want to impress me as a Mason, get up there with your whole organization, Prince Hall and all the rest of y'all. Why you ain't got nobody sending money for these burn up churches down here? Why you ain't got no money? Why ain't England sending you money over here to help fabricate and get your lodges together? When you're sitting up in here meeting in storefronts, whoever you are, 4-letter, 3-letter, 5-letter, I don't care what you are. I'm not concerned with none of that. And I'll always say that. I'm not concerned with no type of friendship, fellowship, none of that. It's about the activity. Why you not protecting your sisters? You know you ain't no good. You ain't got no intentions with her. What you sleeping with her for? But you calling your brother's keeper. You are a liar. You don't know that man. You don't even know the Lord. That's what it's all about. Having that type of fellowship. Stop playing games up in here, man. Whoever it is on the call, whoever it is on the page, quit playing these games. That's why you you fight for a girlfriend. You get suspended for a boo thing, but you ain't gonna fight for no wife. Because they already see what's happening up in there with you. That's why people join, because it's easy pickings, brother. The brother that asked why the brothers join, because it's easy pickings. Because you got a lot of sisters who honestly feel like when a brother asks them to do something, they gonna do it. The first thing he asks her to do is get naked. When the snow is 3 feet deep, you ain't over there trying to shovel it. When the leaves are all over a yard, you ain't over there trying to shovel it. You ain't even cutting her grass. You trying to wait to see what she got on, if she got a thong and a white dress on. That's what you're waiting to do.
So check this out, Brother Jackson. Now, I know how active you are as far as from what I know of you in the shrine. So what do you think about the shrine?
Well, I came from G.Jones, from Palestine #1. You know, the name was changed to Ancient Egyptian because John G.Jones was gone. So they reestablished it. We're talking about Florence and Fleming and all that. Yeah, okay, the European. I went to New Jerusalem's, I went to visit. I came from a game and I went to visit New Jerusalem, Heroines of Jericho. They were doing a Heroines Sunday program.
Right.
And Kimon Amos said that he had some words with some white Shriners because they were talking crazy. Talking, yeah, well, we the real Shriners. You know what I'm saying? See, it's everywhere. Why people sitting up in there holding the scrotum of the European, they don't care nothing about you at all. They don't care nothing about you at all. Wherever you at. Because it's always someone who wants to be on the top of the mountain.
Right.
I always thought about this line when I watched Superfly. When the brother was having combat with him in sparring, he said, what belt am I? He said, you're a black belt. He said, what belt do I wear? He said, you wear a brown belt. He said, why do I wear a brown belt? He said, I don't know. He said, because don't nobody challenge me. Don't nobody come at me. Because people always come at who's on top. The reason why don't nobody challenge people when they're in office, because they ain't got enough popularity to get the votes. It ain't about the efficiency. There's a whole lot of people with idiots in the East. And they keep them in the East because they don't have the popularity to lead the lodge. That's why you're sitting there with 5 and 6 and you still holding on. Because you ain't really got no bills to pay.
So,
or you got, go ahead.
So when Amos was challenged in regards to that what you was telling, I know Brother Amos, and I know his archives and the information he's collected as far as being a Shriner is bar none. I've seen his information. So in saying that, and I know what he has, what is so difficult for people to see in regards to Jones and what he established as a Shriner? I mean, we can go back and forth, but we all know that he clearly established that. Now, that is something that is written down in history that you can't go back and change.
Well, the problem is that we don't want to get past how something is established. That's why I always laugh it off when I'm talking about Church's Fried Chicken and KFC. You don't see them beefing. I ain't seen nobody from Ford Motor Company file no suit and make Dodge come back to them. The Dodge brothers work for Ford. They established their own thing. Didn't nobody call them clandestine. We got a whole lot of things out here that are similar, but they're not the same. But what are you doing with what you have? I mean, think about it. We got 1,000 ways to make chicken. It's still chicken. It's still chicken. So what makes your bird different? What makes everybody else's bird different? How they prepare it. Because you got a steak from Gibson's, it's $50. That means your steak that came from the truck stop is less than. It's how they prepared the meat. It ain't no different cow. It's the same cow. What is the problem with how you do your Shriner and someone else does theirs? First of all, I ain't no Shriner. I'm a noble. There's a difference. White folks are Shriners because they worship us. What is a shrine? Something that you worship at. But you got a lot of black folk walking around talking about they Shriners, walking around wearing that same bastardized emblem that don't even have nothing to do with the sword of Islam. Because that ain't the sword of Islam.
Now you and I both have had that conversation. We understand the truth, how the emblem is supposed to be. We've seen that.
There are a lot of different emblems. John G.Jones chose an emblem to differentiate himself from the whites. He gave the star to the women. The emblem looks different. There's a difference between a daughter's emblem and a noble's emblem.
It is.
Even that's on the wall, but it is a complete difference. There are emblems with a cable toe on it. There are emblems with a keystone on it. There are emblems with one cable toe on it. There are emblems with the heart, the swords, all of that. But if all you're trained to do is talk about what another individual did, like it brings some type of credence or something to make you less than. See, it's painful for me, bro, when you have to defecate on another man to make your poop smell better.
So,
come on, man.
So I'm going to answer this here for Traveling Man. Traveling Man said, now black Shriners are nobles and not Shriners because of the whites. No, you missed, Traveling Man, you missed what he was saying. It is not that. And I'm going to try to paraphrase what you said, brother Jackson. You can correct me if I'm wrong. From what you just said, You're saying that black Shriners consider themselves nobles and not Shriners because you worship at the shrine. Am I right?
Yes, a shrine is a place that you worship at. So when you talk about shrindom, what are you worshiping? Well, I'm a Shriner. Well, how can you be a Shriner? What are you worshiping at? You are a noble. A noble is something of character. I'm of noble birth. Okay, how so? The basic questions of a noble is the common life of a Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it was always said that the European studies 35 to 50 years just to become what they call a Muslim son, which is a noble.
You have got to get initiated into the shrine to find it out. The brother says, but what does a shrine teach?
See, people call it the playhouse, and it's not the playhouse. It's not even a party house.
Mm-hmm.
You're not to become a drunkard. It's no different than when you go into recess. You don't get up. We just don't get drunk up in here. No, that's not what.
Brother Free, I'm adding Brother Freemasonry Unlock onto the line tonight. Go ahead, Brother Freemasonry Unlock. Greetings.
When you are dealing with a brother, see, it's levels. Like in the Bible, it speaks about Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, and beast. Those are stages of wickedness. So you have stages of the order. You have a brother stage, then a brother turns into a companion. Then the companion turns into a knight, and the knight becomes noble. That's what it is over there. It's the same thing on the Scottish Rite side. It's just different levels.
Okay. Freemasonry Unlock, welcome aboard. I got you and Chris Jackson on the phone tonight. What do you want to add to that conversation?
Yeah, peace to y'all brothers. I want to say this as far as the shrine. Shrine is an American institution, first of all. It's not international. Two, all shrines worship at the shrine. As far as the teachings are concerned, I don't care what jurisdiction of the shrine you claim to be a part of, your catechism tells you that you have come to the shrine to worship. So, you're going to have different shriners from different jurisdictions as far as in the chat, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
What does the shrine teach? That's what I know personally, but that's what we want to know. What are the noble teachings of the ancient Arabic order of the nobles of the mystical shrine? Because I don't think anybody in this chat room is pro-white. I don't think so. I know some are, maybe 2 or 3, but I think we can get a lot further if we shine light on teachings that we can benefit from as far as the ancient Arabic order of the nobles of the mystical shrine.
I'm getting a lot of feedback on somebody's phone or
Hold on.
So your question is what does the Shriners teaches? Is that where we're going with this?
Yeah, I think that as far as the chat room, because I know a lot of brothers that's on the chat room. Certain brothers are mainstream, certain brothers are PHA, certain brothers are PHO, certain brothers are whatever they are. So the teachings of the shrine, the wisdom of the shrine is what individuals want to know about. They don't care about who's a white shriner. They don't really care about that.
Right.
That's irrelevant overall, because anybody could say, this is what the shrine is about. For example, shrine is everywhere as far as America is concerned. Catechism teaches you that you have come to the shrine to worship. Am I right or am I wrong?
Well, there's some more to that. And
you cross the burning. You cross the burning sands to do what as a noble?
You say you cross the burning sands. You cross the burning sands into what?
To do what as a noble?
Of course, you cross the burning sands to worship at the shrine.
Right.
But that's a place of worship.
So what does the shrine represent? This is what we want to go into the teaching. That's what brothers want to hear about.
Oh, okay. We're gonna do that.
What is the shrine that we worship? What does the shrine symbolize? What does the candle symbolize?
The brothers that want to know that. If they're not nobles, then why are they asking?
No, they are nobles, but here's the thing with that.
Okay.
Not saying every brother's a noble.
A lot of that.
Many brothers. Yeah.
A lot of that about the shrine, and in knowing what the wisdom is, this, that, and other, it becomes very simple when you have studied the religion of Islam.
I would agree with you there. So it's different. My perspective is that there are ways that we can inform brothers about what the shrine is without necessarily, lawfully revealing things that should not be revealed. Because just because you took the shrine degree doesn't mean that you understand what the shrine means. It doesn't.
Well, that's one of my issues with accepting a degree anyway. Because don't nobody make you come and get initiated. If you're not ready to get a black belt, don't put your white one on Monday and go up there to get the black belt and then get tossed up. Now you broke up.
I was looking for some information just to share with you in regards to the very question you asked, in regards to what does the shrine teaches. Now, in my personal experience as being a noble, I find that the Shriners it brings Christianity and Islam together. It gives you that whole perspective on it. One is not greater than the other, especially when you're looking at the master teacher. So when you have the caressing, if you turn that fist sideways, it shows you the flag of Islam. Okay? And then when you look at this the sword or the sword of the Knights of Templar, and then you have the scimitar of the shrine, they come together.
Right. Let me grasp something for a second.
Go ahead.
For those of you who have affairs, now this ain't taught in shrine. This is simple discernment, and this is also study of Islam. On your fairs, it has a shape that way for a reason. The top is not pointed for a reason.
Absolutely.
There are four groups of holes on the top of that shrine, or the top of that fairs for a reason.
Yes, it is.
The tassel. See, my tassel ain't locked down. The tassel is locked down for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
The tassel has links for a reason. Because the links is almost esoteric to what they were speaking about in reference to Samson's hair.
Uh-huh.
See, the longer your tassel was differentiating the type of knowledge that you had.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
that's what I was trying to think of earlier, and I couldn't. Go ahead.
The human brain has 36 points in it that all sit 10 degrees apart. What is that times 10?
360, brother.
So therefore, and 360 means continuous, and the mind is something that you can never fill up. See, when we look at old Masonic emblems, it looks like a screw at the top of the compass, correct?
It does.
That screw always turns. That means it's forever moving, forever learning. This says that this is a progressive science. Mm-hmm. Progress means to continue to go. Science is always about the study. When we're dealing with a lot of other things, we're talking about actual facts, because there are no opinions in masonry, because how do you know one to be such? By his perfect points of entrance. And when you're dealing with perfection, that means everything has to be right and exact. That's why you don't walk into a room any kind of way. You come in on right angles, horizontals, or perpendicular. So when we're dealing with being a noble, we're talking about someone of outstanding behavior. And he's demonstrated that because he would give his life as a knight or fight with his brother. How did he find that out? Because he was a companion. He sat by his side. Who was Jesus's companion? Because he had 12, but he also had 5 within that 12 that he knew wouldn't turn on him. What's the revelation and what's the reference about that if we sprinkle a little Bible on it? And what happened with Job? Because I do recall the devil, as we know him, and God were having a conversation. And he said, if you didn't have that hedge around him, I'd make him curse you to your face.
Right.
What did he say? Not mine, not Job. He'll never turn on me, because his faith was unwavering.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing that would happen would make him turn on you. How often does the smallest, minute thing turn on you? Well, what is this? A beautiful system of morality held in allegory, illustrated by symbols? Did we not just watch that statement when we looked at the Masters with Tiger? How many people said he'd never be back? But he had a resolve, because when you got a father that you believe in, a God that you serve, no man can tell you what you can and cannot do. Does that make any sense at all? Does that make any sense at all? I mean, how much? Listen, Job's own wife told him, man, curse God and die.
Yep.
Look what he's doing to you. You can't get your own baby mama, who you trust with your life, every night that y'all get naked, to stand in your corner.
Mm.
You ain't even got processed in the jail, and already she got somebody else.
Right.
Where was her diligence in being in your corner? Just like I said about the thing with Nipsey.
Mm-hmm.
There was more people at the funeral that even bought the CD. Come on, man. How is it that we talk so nastily about people when they're alive, but when they did, I don't even hear the love I have.
Wow. And that reminds me, let me tell you, that reminds me of the burial. It says that there's no cries, no yarning of tears of relatives or friend that can soon avert. Meaning to say that everything that you're doing now, I can't see them. I can't hear them. The things that you're saying now, you should have told me when I was living.
Isn't that, in Islam, there's a reason why when you get initiated, you have on white. When you make your circuits around the Kaaba, when you go to Mecca to make your pilgrimage, you're in white, because don't nobody know who you are.
Right.
The white is always supposed to be a symbol of innocence and the badge of a Mason. Yeah, I got that. But all things of existence come out of darkness.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're dealing with the white, that means it's unscathed.
Right.
It's not dirty. When something is dirty, you can see it when it's on all white. Just like the car.
Mm.
You know it when it's dirty because something has gotten on it.
Right.
So it's about the conduct. Being a noble is about a conduct. It's almost like when you look at them, how is it that we look at some of these preachers and you figure that's about as close as to God that you can get when you're a bona fide preacher. You don't even know your children. You barely see your wife. You're always there. You're giving of yourself. But then you look up and some turmoil had happened on some problems. What's the reference for that? We all fall short. It says all, not y'all, all fall short. So there's none going anywhere that's not of some type of imperfection. What's the best, not the best metal, what is the best stone that we use for reference of value? The diamond. But you have to have seriously looked at it with strict trial and due examination to find the imperfection in the diamond.
Right. Let me ask y'all brothers this. What do y'all think about the Noble Fez and the history of the Moors, the Northwest Africans, and the school at Fez, Morocco?
Hold on a second. Okay. Well, from 1996 to 2002, I was acting Grand Sheik of Branch Temple number 43 in North Carolina.
Off the Moorish Science Temple of America?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
From Brother Arlaville, who was from Noble Drew Ali, Brother C. Kirkman Bay, Brother F. Nelson Bay, Brother J. Blakely Bay, from that lineage. Not Dr. R. German Bay and the other, not the Princess, not Chelsea Stargill, none of that. I came from the direct line from Noble Drew Ali, from the temple that I was at.
Right.
The Moors fairs, when you buy it at Lauders, it's maroon. The Europeans fairs is burgundy.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
The Nobles fairs is red, scarlet red, just like the Amaranth fairs.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us wear the burgundy fairs because the whites wear it. Has anyone even noticed that they've changed their name from Ancient Arabic Order Nobles Mystic Shrine to Shriners International?
Yep.
Yes.
Because they want to have complete exoneration from black folk. Prince Hall got their own identity, ancient Egyptian. Where did that happen? Not being a slight, but we wouldn't have. Egypt is a part of Africa.
Right.
Egypt ain't its own spot. Egypt is in Africa.
Uh-huh.
So
right.
Everyone had their own. Everyone had their own representation. There was a reason the key was put under there for international, so you could differentiate William V. Banks's people. So they have their own procedures. Nothing is different. The only secret we got in this order is what's in your treasure. Because I know a noble when I see him. I know a Mason when I see him because he got on something or whatever.
Right.
There's no secret in this.
Quick interjection,
Yes,
y'all. When you look at the abbreviation of Ancient Arabic Order of the Nobles of the Mystic Shrine, jumble the letters, it's spelled a Mason. So
yeah.
But it doesn't do that if you add the Egyptian up in there. Like the Prince Hall guy did.
Well, you know, a lot of those things. Cause see, I've seen a lot of that over the years. You know, arm, leg, arm, head. I got that. That's the English version, and it's a nice acronym.
Right.
But when you're speaking the language, it's
right.
a look. Because the vowel is only one time. The vowel only has one representation. When you spell a law and you do the numerical fraction of it, the A is only represented once.
Right.
When you talk about the supreme mathematics, not for the nation of Islam, but supreme mathematics of the 19 and the 1 and 9. Right. See, there's really only 19 verses in the Al-Fatiha. There are 19 letters in certain things. Before the Shia put Imam Ali's verses in there for the call to prayer, it was only 19 ayats.
Mm-hmm.
So you have different things. That's why I'm saying I get what everyone is saying. I don't have an issue with that. I don't have an issue with anything that anyone is doing. Until you delve off into it and gotten some serious study from a lot of different schools of thought, we can't stand strong with our chests out about boiled egg telling me that you're a chef. When there's quiche behind that. You got scrambled eggs, soft eggs, you got 3, 5, and 10-minute eggs. And there's a way to cook them. It doesn't make one less than the other.
Right.
There's no noble on this page, no brother, no sister on this page that's less than the other one. The only difference between all of us is the one who keeps his and her obligation closest to their chest in their behavior. That's why when you get circumcised, that's the cutting of the foreskin to keep your organ clean. That's what makes you a Jew by practice.
Mm-hmm.
But the esotericness of the circumcision is just like if you don't get your heart circumcised, you'll always have a larceny in it.
You always have a whole lot of things in it. Jealousy.
Yeah.
You name it, it would be there.
In the more science, they call those the 7 lower cells. 7 is numerical what? Completion.
Yeah.
God. You got the 7 higher cells and 7 lower cells. Hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, everything that harms. What are the 7 higher cells above the penis? The mother of virtues, the harmonies of life that breeds justice, mercy, love, and right.
Right.
See, man's God today, tomorrow ain't God. God may be a soldier to the man who ain't done nothing but have violence in his life. But he's also used to be a person of peace. Do you think that everybody in the Nation of Islam is just soft? There's a reason why the character has to be subdued like that. Because some brothers come from hardened criminals. Because the minister will tell you himself, he didn't see the development that the church had over people. Like you know an immediate change when you see somebody that joined the Nation of Islam.
I would have to agree with that.
It's in his appearance.
Likewise.
But I can use the same excuses. I can hoe all week and show up Sunday and say, oh, the Lord forgive me.
It's God's goodness and mercy.
You don't have those excuses when you're dealing with Islam. That's why dealing with Islam and Jehovah's Witnesses is very similar. Because you got to have scriptural backing to define why you behave and why you what you're doing. That's why they call it an argument in court. Well, present your argument. Well, what is an argument? It's when 2 people say they have the truth. And the person who has the most facts has won the argument.
Let me ask y'all this, not to cut you off. As a noble, when you cross the burning sands, right?
Okay.
How would y'all interpret that spiritually or
the burning sands?
Esoterically, yes, to cross the burning sands.
Correct. I don't want to cut you off, I'm sorry. The burning sands, brother, is no different than a jihad or bearing your cross or riding a goat. Because you ain't really crossing no burning sands. When you're talking about a burning sands, you're dealing with a camel. We're talking about traveling across over there in that hot land. We're talking about endurance, what you can weather. We're talking about fortitude. Wait a minute, isn't that word long up into the blue lodge?
Yes, it is.
Fortitude, resilience, patience, constancy, all of that. And it's all based on the simple, oldest form of deity, the handshake. Not no bylaws, not no signing no declaration, not signing no paperwork.
Amenities and treaties.
Yeah. You know, that doesn't my word is what I stand on. And
but
my
see,
walk
here's the thing.
My word.
Here's the thing. A lot of people don't have no word about what they say.
Correct. And that's why I said in the very beginning. See, if I want to know if Freemasonry Unlocked is a brother that I can trust around my wife, I'll send somebody around him that got that friendly booty to see if he gonna go. Or I'll send my wife around him to see if he gonna go. And if he ain't gonna go, then I know I can trust him.
Right.
You got brothers that you've initiated that you know straight hoes. You got brothers in your own
I can neither confirm or deny.
You got brothers in your own laws that you call brother. You hugging 5 points of fellowship, pressed all up, penises pressed all up against each other, whispering in each other's ears.
You need to stop.
Trust them.
Boy, I tell you.
Trust them around your own wife. How can somebody lying?
Right, that is true. That's a fact.
I'm out the country, and brothers can go to my house and take care of my wife as if I was there. That's the type of brother that you're supposed to have. But
I'm gonna share this with you, brother. Chris, brother Lewis just said it all goes back. It's gonna all go back to the blue law.
That's why the stairs wind. People miss that. You can go to the top of the tallest building in your city, and you can look out the window, and it's swaying a little bit. Well, why is it swaying? Because it's turbulence up there. I mean, your car don't shake when you're doing 20. Your car shake when you're doing 130. Because it's hard to control. You see what I'm saying?
That is true.
All of these things are around us, but we miss it because we looking at the trees and not the forest. We get the mission confused with the method, and that's why we fail. I mean, honestly, let's look at it. We having discussions all the time with different brothers. It's the same suit, just worn different, about somebody who was suspended or expelled for contumacy. Have you ever looked up contumacy? That means you didn't want to answer. You didn't want to answer no summons. You didn't want to come to the meeting. How many people lied talking about they at work? Nigga, you working 8 days a week. You can't even make your meeting. But ain't nobody.
Oh, we get that all the time.
You see, so let's stop. Like I say, let's stop playing those games. Have you even looked up? I said it before. Have you ever looked up the word irreligious libertine?
Mm-hmm.
So why you sitting up here discussing with me how you let this homosexual in your lodge?
Right.
Irreligious libertine means one who practices sexually immoral behavior. Well, what is the moral behavior that we know of sex? Married, or even if you're doing it, your intentions are to marry her. But no, you got a stable in there. You got holes in every area code. And you don't want to give up your seat because you always got that free ticket plus one.
He said a free ticket plus one.
Yeah, he makes a good point. Not to swerve. You know, I was talking to Brother Hairston, right?
Uh-huh.
He referenced me to the report of the United Grand Lodge of England from 1992, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before they issue recognition of PHA, right?
Okay.
Right? And I mentioned to him, I said, look, bro, it says in the part of that report, it's on Bessel. For anybody that wants to look, you know who Bessel is?
Yes.
The PHA guy?
Yeah.
Right? You can look it up on Google. But anyway, it's a part that talks about the history of Prince Hall Masonry in brief. That's the subsection in the report. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And it says that the United Grand Lodge of England found that Prince Hall warranted 2 lodges, one in Philadelphia and one in Rhode Island in 1897, contrary to the warrant, meaning charter, that was granted to him, right?
By Massachusetts. Just to bury the dead and walk in St. John's Day. Correct.
Yeah. So
That's
this is in the report.
That's in Coyle's encyclopedia.
Look, this is in the report. So I said, bro, the United Grand Lodge of England clearly states in a report that Prince Hall was practicing clandestine masonry. Because it says in the report, it's in point number 3 of that subsection that I just mentioned, brief history of Prince Hall Masonry, that he warranted or chartered 2 lodges, one in Rhode Island and the other in Philadelphia in 1897, against, right?
Okay.
Against what was allowed to him through his charter. And the brother will circumvent that, you heard? He'll circumvent it, like, oh, no, man. No, it clearly states that Prince Hall was doing the same thing that John G.Jones was doing, bro.
Yeah. Well,
nothing different, bro.
Here's
anyway,
the thing. It got different because I was in North Carolina in 1996 when the recognition, 95, 96, when the recognition got made like it was. Because what was supposed to happen, they were supposed to vote somebody out in Scottish Rite, and it didn't happen. So when membership started getting funny on both sides, the Prince Hall and Europeans, they got together. I'll say it, regardless of what else can be spoken of. If the United Grand Lodge of England recognizes Prince Hall, and there's only one Grand Lodge in each state, mainstream, correct? Why is it that all 50 states over here that we stay in don't recognize you?
Well,
I can't get the Prince Hall plate in Georgia. I can't get one in a few other states. I have brothers all the time. I travel all over this country lecturing. And I got brothers that always ask me when they get in, am I Prince Hall? And I say, no, it's okay. And we talk like it ain't, like we brothers forever. Because it's about the behavior. Southern Masons treat you a lot different than Northern Masons. Southern fraternities treat you a lot different than Northern fraternities. Excuse me, bro. I apologize. I have my feet up. I apologize. There's a difference. See, brothers that we can talk with mutual respect and speaking about a mutual recognition of one another for their Masonic works and travel and character, I'm good with that. But when you reach out your hand to me and you greet me and I greet you, and you say, oh, I ain't never seen you. Oh, you must be clandestine. Well, you're saying it as a slight. But if you really knew what the word meant, everybody clandestine.
I said that. I keep telling everybody that.
Because everybody don't recognize everybody. Because we tend to think that UGLE is the mother of all masonry all over the world. That's not true. We can always stand strong and talk crazy about Romania, because this is 40 years of history missing in Romania. They were dormant. They were shut down for 40 years. 40 years, not 40. 40. So there's a lot of stuff that's missing. But let's be real clear. Not the Flaxen Society that Brother Walks created. I'm talking about the Flaxen Society over there in Great Britain that openly shows documentation where Prince Hall tried to get in with a lot of different Grand Lodges that said no. Now, the work of Prince Hall is unfounded. Ain't no question that Prince Hall is who he was. Ain't nobody discounting that. I don't care nothing about the charter, nobody running into all of that shows diligence of keeping what things need to be happening. I don't care nothing about military lodges and what was legal and what wasn't legal. We talking about things that happened. And the things that happened, they did happen. Catechism was made because a lot of black men were not allowed to read. And if you were a Mason, you were able to find your way around the world using catechism so people would know who you were based upon what you said. That's how that went. And so when we're talking about legitimacy, that's different than recognized, because white America has always said, no question that Prince Hall is who they are. They know their work, because most whites study their stuff by memory. But see, man's mind is infallible to error. Because if I talk to you about a yellow jacket and blue breeches, that's old, ancient term. That's why I tell people now, you don't practice ancient free. You practice free because your rituals are free. You practice free because you still say Saint John's of Jerusalem. That ain't ancient free.
Sure ain't.
That's not ancient free. So, that's how you knew when somebody was an old ancient Mason. Say, from whence come you? And he told you, oh, you one of those old ancient Masons. That's why St. John is the most often named Grand Lodge in the world. See, there are books, there are encyclopedias that will tell you before UGLE was founded, there were ancients and modern. They called them Antians. In America, there were 23 and 24, 3 and 4 levels. When they went through all of their trauma and they decided to come together and found UGLE, because there was 2 mass Grand Lodges of England. When they came together to found UGLE, they sent word over here and they said, anyone who wants to be under us, send your name, send your reports, this, that, and the other, and you will be recognized as UGLE. Everyone else will be considered clandestine. Well, why is it that George Washington's Grand Lodge founded themselves without all of that? There are a few people that did it. Because Prince Hall said, since you keep taking my money, we gonna do our own thing, and we ain't gonna answer to nobody. We'll be independent amongst ourselves. And he did his thing, and he did his thing, and he did his thing.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like I was talking to Brother Harrison about, right?
Mm-hmm.
I sent them the minutes, the proceedings, and I sent them to you too, Brother Holton.
So hold on. I'm gonna answer Brother Brandon Lewis real quick. My apologies for cutting you off. He says, where can you find the 24 lodges? If John Harrison, I'm referencing his book. He has those in his book. Those lodges that was part of the Grand Lodge at the time, who was in the United States, and those lodges that was abroad. So he has them in his book. But go ahead.
Bro, yeah. So I sent him the link, and I sent it to you too. It's MasonicGenealogy.com.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Go ahead.
The State Grand Lodge of Massachusetts minutes dealing with the investigation of Prince Hall Masonry, right?
I got the actual minutes too.
Yeah. So recent times, right? The position of the State Grand Lodge of Massachusetts was that the Prince Hall Grand Lodge of Massachusetts, right, is supposed to be the original Grand Lodge of PHA.
Right, the Mother Grand Lodge.
They surrendered their charter. Not saying that they physically gave their charter up, but they surrendered their sovereignty, right, to the Compact Grand Lodge in 1847, when the Compact Grand Lodge, with its Prince Hall origin, was founded.
Nobody likes talking about that.
But that's a fact. And this is why the State Grand Lodge, besides the racism, we know about the racism issues, but this is why the State Grand Lodge of Massachusetts refused to recognize them for a long time. Like, listen, you surrendered your sovereignty. You surrendered your sovereignty, and then you decide that you want to take it back, and that you're legitimate. But in any case, like when I spoke to Brother Harrison, I'm gonna tell you this, and this is the fact, bro. The brother will lie. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm not gonna try to diss the brother. But he will lie to prove a point that he has to prove when he's debating with you. You heard? He will. He'll lie.
It happens. It happens.
Like I presented him. No, he presented to me first a page from C.L. Mitchell's book. Y'all familiar with it? The brother that started the King Solomon Grand Lodge of
early introduction of Negro Masonry in Texas and the United States. Correct.
Right. So you'll see in that book that there's a letter presented that's supposed to be from John Hervey, who was the Grand Secretary of the Grand Lodge of England at that time, to Brother John G.Jones, right, saying that the United Grand Lodge of England said that they have no records of the traditional history of Prince Hall Masonry that state that some English military lodge granted a warrant to Prince Hall, or that they initiated Prince Hall.
In Boston. Redneck Boston.
Right. So I'm like, okay. In that letter, you know, it addresses Brother John G. Jones as a brother, and it talks about the Grand Master at the time of the Grand Lodge of Prince Hall Mason. Right? So he's like, yeah, that letter proves that the United Grand Lodge of England recognized Prince Hall Masonry at the time. But then I found another letter from John Hervey to the Grand Master of the Prince Hall, and I have all this information. I'll present it for any brother that wants it. From John Hervey to the Grand Master of the State Grand Lodge of Massachusetts during that time. And John Hervey allegedly stated that he was the Grand Secretary, mind you. He stated that, you know, Prince Hall is not recognized unless the State Grand Lodge of Massachusetts recognizes them. If I don't recognize them, we don't recognize them.
Right.
But John Harrison, and I got the conversation between me and him, so I don't mind sending it to anybody. He told me in clear words that, yeah, UGLE, United Grand Lodge Union, always recognize PHA.
That's not true.
Now, of course it's not true, but this is what he stated, and I had the conversation. So I will send it to anybody who wants it. The point that I'm making is that them dudes will lie, bro. Just like with the Prince Hall, not Prince Hall, the State Grand Lodge of Massachusetts. They're racist, bro. Straight like
That's what I was trying to understand. How is
bro,
it?
I had the minutes, bro.
That point was always, I have the actual minutes of 1717. I have documentation of when Prince Hall was trying to petition other Grand Lodges in the East to be with them, and they were refused. It was until UGLE was formed that they gave them something to be able to do, you know, and that's okay. It's not even and that's okay with me. I'm not concerned with. See, Prince Hall was a cold dude. John G.Jones his nickname was Indignation because John G.Jones was snapping a minute. He was an attorney. He was a cold dude. He put a lot of things on documentation and on paper to make sure that everybody was safe and will always and be able to do what he's doing. Because even in my lectures, I always pay homage to Prince Hall for the work that he did. But see, I can't keep talking about my grandfather. We don't even talk about Dr. J anymore. We talked about Michael Jordan. We don't even talk about Mike anymore. We use Mike as a reference for certain things, but we don't talk about Mike anymore because times change.
Right.
So it's about what is that you're going to do? What is that you're doing? And how you're going to do it? And if you're going to do it right, then do it right. But this, you know, I've always said this. St. John Grand Lodge is on 7443 South Ingleside, Chicago, Illinois. Prince Hall's shrine is 3 blocks away. At Arabic number, I think Arabic number 7 or Arabic number 1 is right around the corner. I go in there every first Friday because a friend of mine is the bartender. I don't entertain all that. Where you from? Don't ask me nothing when I come in here to enjoy myself and fellowship with people. Because there's a lot of brothers in there that know me. I'm not into all of that. Ain't nothing wrong with me. I don't need to be healed. I got all of the terminology, whatever your purpose is. Everybody does whatever they do for their own understanding. I'm so-and-so, Prince Hall. Right. You say that so you can let people know who you are. But it doesn't change. If you're a brother, then you're a brother. And I only know you're a brother by your behavior. I don't know you're a brother because you passed an initiation.
Right.
You're not a mother because you had a baby. You're not a father, but you're not a father because your son got all the Tims in the world.
But like the brother just said, he just said it all boils down to egos when you're doing that.
You say what?
He's brother. I think his name is Brother Colby. You know, he basically broke it down. It just all boils down to egos. You know, when you're introducing yourself to another person, because I don't introduce myself to another Mason. Oh, my name is past Grandmaster Brother Tony Hawkins John. I don't do that. Brother Tony Hawkins, that's it. The title means nothing to me.
To this day, I have never introduced myself first when a brother knows that I'm a Mason. I speak, I say, how you doing, brother? And he reaches in and he speak out, and I give him my name afterwards, and I tell him where I'm from. How he act after that determine how the rest of that goes. Like my father said, the police pull you over, your first 30 seconds gonna determine how the rest of that night go.
Absolutely.
And Brother Hawkins, did you see the nonsense? All right, you probably seen it. But I'm talking about mainstream. I'm not even saying mainstream because they don't give it up like that. It's it's PHA. They were saying, the brother, meaning you heard? They say, the brother, he's in California. You already talked about this in prior episodes of your show. They say, the brother, he lied to La Mesa Lodge in California, right?
Okay.
Like, yo, he snuck in there. He told him he was PHA. This is what they saying. They're like, yo, he told him he was PHA. He set up in there, and blah 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 blah. Whereas the truth is that every Grand Lodge, to my knowledge, I'm in New York City. As far as state Grand Lodges are concerned, they're open forums, open meetings, right? Open meetings where anybody can come, right? Anybody can come, and you can sit there and you can talk to individuals who are part of that state Grand Lodge. They're not going to kick you out or nothing like that. You're going to sit there, they're going to talk with you. Remember how you was talking about, like, oh yeah, boom, I go to such and such.
But see,
open meetings.
But see, hey, Freemasons Unlocked, they didn't tell you that, you know, when you go visit mainstream Grand Lodges, they didn't tell you that they look in a book to see if your lodge is in this book, if your Grand Lodge is in this book, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
If it's not in there, and somebody vouches for you because they have sit in title lodge with you, a past master came up and said, oh, I know Brother Hawkins, we sat in lodge together. Once he did that, then the wishful master of the lodge was like, I'll vouch for him. Now the other two guys he's with, I don't know them. Do you know them? I said, they with me. All right, well, if you vouch for them, I'm vouching for you, you're welcome to come in. Sign the book.
Right.
I signed the book, Hosea Lodge number 7. I signed the book, Brother Hawkins.
Right, yeah, listen, I know this. That's just like with the PHA Grand Lodge in New York. It's a run, no disrespect, you heard? Everybody that's from New York knows it. It's a run damn ass building. Right? In Harlem. Everybody knows it. No disrespect. But Tyler, everybody's not gonna be like, oh yeah, you know, as far as the Tyler. Yeah, let me see your dues card. No. You have to travel to know those type of things. I get it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I definitely get it. I'm just saying that this is what they talking about. Like, oh yeah, boom, he infiltrated us. This is what they talking about.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, boom, he infiltrated us. Da 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 da. We have footage, even though they didn't post the footage. You heard? But they're like, oh yeah, boom, boom, he infiltrated us. Has Grandmaster Tony Hawkins. He infiltrated La Mesa Live in California. Da 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 da.
When you have a forum, bro, and see, every time I look online and I Google something, I'm looking for something, somebody's always upkeeping. See, they slandered Jarvis and Rick Wells and myself. You know, people, don't do this. Don't, you got brothers that just got a whole, some brothers just have to have their name on something so they can have a voice. I see that in a lot of places. And that just causes I live a certain way because, as I always say, I treat everything and everyone in my life, whatever I'm dealing with simple mathematics. You either add to me or you subtract from me. You either multiply me or you divide me. Whatever you do, it's got to equal out or it's wrong. I don't deposit nothing into anyone if I can't see a return. That's no different than saying, There's no different than saying I don't cast pearls to swine.
Well, one brother asks that you elaborate a little bit on those first 30 seconds when you come across a police officer.
Yes, sir. Well, see, because it's gonna go different. Why the hell you pulling me over? All right, well, everybody out the car then. Because he could have been pulling me over to say, man, what kind of cigar you smoke?
Yeah.
In all my years, I have never been asked to get out the car. And I've been wrong a few times.
Right.
But how I presented myself, listen, let me tell you something. I was late for work one day. I'm doing a ball 17 on the expressway for, I know, 20 minutes. I didn't realize I was on cruise control. I looked up in my side mirror, and the police CPD was right on my hip, maybe about 4 cars back. When I realized where I was, I hit the brakes and I slowed down. He hit the light. I pulled over. My FOP tag was on the back. And when he came to the car, my FOP tag was because my father was a cop. My dad was a cop. He came to the car. I left him room to get to the right side of the car. He came to the door. He said, "How you doing?" I said, "I'm late and I'm wrong." That's all I said. He said, "Okay." He said, "You got your license on you?" And I said, "Yes, sir." I gave him my license. He said, "Whose FOP bag is that?" I said, "Well, my dad is a cop. My uncle's a cop." I said, "But I ain't name dropping." I said, "I was wrong." He said, "I understand that." He said, "Slow it down." And I left it at that. I don't ride around. There's no more than 3 people in my car ever. And 2 of them females.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't ride with people. Because you don't know what they got. And if somebody in there dirty, it's going to turn into whole something different. Okay. It's just, it's your presentation.
Mm-hmm.
I have been in a new car. I didn't have no registration, no papers or nothing. I saw the state police turn around, and I immediately pulled over. I had my jacket in the window. He came to the door. He said, he asked me for my stuff. I gave him my stuff, and he asked me my credentials. This, that, and other. He said, "Where you? What lodge you say you're from?" I said, "I'm from Most Western St. James Grand Lodge on 82nd and West." He gave me. This is a white man now. He gave me my license back. He said, "Be careful." Now remember, I ain't got no license. I didn't have no insurance. I had no registration and no insurance. I'm just driving around in the car. It was mine, and he didn't. And now you already know what's supposed to happen when you don't have no insurance or registration.
Yeah.
He said, "Be careful and get on to your destination," because I was on my way to the lodge. See, I don't do that. Well, I know so and so, and I'm blah blah. I don't show up to court in full Scottish Rite regalia and all that other stuff. There's some stuff you just don't do.
Right.
If you respect moral and divine law, you don't get arrested and look for help. You wear it if they decide to do something for you that was their blessing.
Right.
So it's just it's a way to do things. I mean, we've talked about a myriad of things, but that's what it is about being a noble.
So look, gentlemen, we've been on here for about 1:42. We're gonna go ahead and close it out tonight. I appreciate both of you calling in. So you got any last words you want to share with us, Brother Jackson?
Just study to show thyself to prove. Not study a few things and repeat them because you know something. Study so you can uplift other brothers.
Mm-hmm.
I've lectured internationally. I walked in like international. I've never walked like that before. I did all of that. I've seen all kinds of different things in different places that I've been, and I ate the fish and spit the bones out.
I got you. I love that one. All right, Brother Unlock, what you got?
Yeah, just peace, blessings to all the brothers, all the sisters. Stay traveling towards the east in search of that light. Find it, grasp it, spread it. That's all.
Any sister that need to reach out to me, I'm online. You can't miss me. If you need to reach out to me, I just try to be an asset. I try to be an asset to a lot of things. A lot of people are afraid to speak up on some things because they have a fear of being not necessarily wrong, but sometimes when you don't know something, a lot of us are led by what other people tell us. Mm-hmm. That's why they don't want you talking to anybody else, because they don't want you to know anything more than what they do.
Yep.
That's why a lot of times if you really pay attention, I mean, it's been a topic out there. What is your purpose of going to college for? The purpose of the person teaching you the course that you're in, the economic course, the socioeconomic course, the accounting, the finance, those disciplines, the person who gave you the course can't even fix the world's problems. So now you got a master's degree in the same thing, So you could tell somebody you have ME behind your name. But it ain't nothing but firewood on your wall because you ain't changed nothing around here and you ain't changed the condition of your people. So just peace and love to everybody. It don't make a difference. I love everybody and they can't do nothing about it. And if you don't love me, I'm good with that because I love me.
That's right. So Freemason Unlocked, go ahead. I know you were sending peace and shout out to people, so go ahead and finish up.
Yes, sir. I apologize.
Hey, ain't nothing else other than what I said, except for keep your light on, stay out the bushes.
Well, I certainly appreciate that, and you know,
I like my bush bald anyway.
Definitely.
I'll be in Buffalo in August, bro.
Buffalo in August.
Y'all be there.
Okay. Man, y'all. Whew, I'm glad it's gonna be kind of summer too.
Well, you gotta ask your wife to travel. So.
Well, ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Leave my wife out of this. Much love.
Right.
But definitely to everybody who came on tonight, I appreciate it. And if you ever want to reach out to myself, Christopher Jackson, Brother Freemason Unlock, I'm quite sure you guys know how to get in contact with us. You know, this is what it's all about. Spreading the semen of brother in love, taking that trial and put it to use. So until we see each other again, till we greet each other, you know, always peace and be well. And as I say, stay out the bushes and keep your light on. That's real. And as Jesse Jackson used to say, keep hope alive. I'm out, guys. Have a good one now. Peace.